What's up, everyone? About 1 month ago, I shared a Google form questionnaire for you to ask me any question and that I will go over it. So now is the time to do it. If you like this format, let me know or put reactions in the Discord so I know if you like it, and I will keep doing it if it is helpful for you. So first question, how and when do you decide to move to break even? So I will make some videos on this. I am planning to add many more videos to course and in general backtesting and stuff, especially on lower timeframes, which is highly requested. I already shared more lower timeframes confirmation videos, but I'm planning to make a backtesting file like I did for higher timeframes, also on lower timeframes. So when do I move to break even? Usually when all the liquidity is cleared, but I will have to show you some examples actually on charts. So that's coming. How to start analysis from 4 hours to lower time frames. Make sure to go over the case studies videos. Basically start from the 4 hours. Let me show you. Basically start from the 4 hours. Let me see an example. Well, actually 4 hours, not always. My timeframes of reference are either 4 hours or 4 to 1 hour. And sometimes in between I look at like the 2 hours. So for example, right here, NZD CAD, I was looking that we are in 4 hours time frame, we had this breakout structure and we are overall bullish. Now right here, we're overall bullish, but I'm looking for buys from this demand. This means that I'm looking for buys from this demand, and I can trade my sells to this demand, into this demand, where then I will look for buys. Yesterday, I was looking for sells here, which didn't happen. Now I will show you in a minute. Actually, I will make a case study on this. We broke to the upside, and therefore this is a breakout structure to the upside, and then I'm looking for sells from here. So keep in mind, overall, we're bullish. I'm looking for buys from this demand, but I'm looking for sells to trade into this demand. So from here, we can see that we have this breakout structure to the downside. This is supply. When we reach this supply, we look for confirmation to trade into this demand. Now, from now, if today in this exact moment, we didn't reach supply yet, we just broke this structure to the upside, and I was looking, so supply fails, and I'm looking for demand, which is in control. This demand is in control, clearly. We reach it, and I was looking for buys. Now, I didn't take buys because I didn't have confirmation to take them, but overall, you can see that if you go on lower time frames and find it, you can get a good entry. Now, so this was the overall analysis on higher time frames. If I go to lower time frames, I go to the 50 minutes, I start refining my key areas. So I start refining to the last down candle before the up move. So this is the last down candle. It is already refined, as you can see. Now, after this, after we touch into the area, I drop again to lower time frames and I start looking for an entry. Start looking for an entry here. I can clearly see that supply fails. Okay. Supply fails. I'll just put this color. Demand is in control. I was looking for an entry here on this move with premium and discount, and we never reached the discounted area, so I didn't get an entry. Okay, but this is overall what I'm looking for. Now, if we had the retracement, I would have looked for buys here. All right. Now, we can also trade this way. This way meaning that we had also this breakout structure, and when we have also this breakout structure, which is after this one, we have two options. And I said this already. We either trade from the extreme, which is the lowest one, so we wait for this, or we trade from the latest demand that breaks this structure, which is this one. Okay. Usually I like to see this more like this area and see for confirmation. Here we can either take an aggressive trade from here, and if we hit stop loss, then we take another aggressive trade from lower. Of course, the restored ratio is better from lower. Let's see. In which time frame do you look for change of Carter? Change of Carter is just my confirmation. Look at my confirmation video. I basically want to see manipulation, break structure, trend confirmed. For that, I look from the 5 minutes to the 1 minute, sometimes 30 seconds, but not really. What confluences do you look for before entering counter trend trades? So I will say that my trades, even the ones that maybe to your eyes look counter trend, are not really counter trend, because what is counter trend? I mean, if you look at the 1 hour, trend is bullish. We just broke previous high and we retraced to demand. Trend is bullish. If we look at the 4 hours, trend is overall bullish, but we didn't reach our point of interest. So I would say that my trend is overall bullish. I'm looking for buys from this demand. We didn't reach this demand yet, and therefore I'm looking for sells to trade into this demand. I'm looking for sell to trade into this demand, but we didn't reach my sell area yet, which also has imbalance in it, plus point of interest. And I have confidence that I can trade my buys into this sell area because we just broke previous structure and the trend is bullish on the 1 hour. So this is my reasoning usually. What confluences do you look before? Okay, so this was the question. In your course, you don't mention correlation between pairs. I don't really look at correlation between pairs. If I look at the one pair, I analyze that pair. I don't really go look, for example, if I analyze Euro USD, I don't really pay too much attention to GBP USD. The only thing that I pay attention to is that I don't want to be in more trades on pairs that are correlated. So, for example, I don't want to be on Euro USD buys and GBP USD buys at the same time, because if the US dollar is either strong or weak that day, my trade can go, both trades can go bad. Please show us how to analyze trend with moving averages as you shown in Fib 1.0 video. That's just the start of the Fib strategy. Overall, I will just rely on market structure. Moving averages, I put it because it was the starting point of the strategy. Some students are still using it, but even if you use moving averages, combine it with market structure, please. What time frame is the most stable to trade order block? I look for order blocks on 4 hours and 1 hour, or 2 hours, but it's basically the same. How often do you trade reversals? Again, I don't really trade what you are referring as reversal. I'm trading into zones, and the trend must be confirmed into that direction. So, for example, 4 hours, as I was showing earlier, was bullish. We have this breakout structure. So once this demand is reached, I'm looking for a pro trend. So with the trend trade to go into buys. But at the same time, I'm looking at buys here because 1 hour trend is bullish. We just broke previous structure right here. And at the same time, I'm looking for sells here. So I will say that these sells, we actually have this breakout structure to the downside, but I will say that the most counter trend trade that you're referring to will be these sells right here. And these sells will not be taken if there is no good confirmation from here. And the confluence is that we are overall bullish. There is imbalance right here. The point of interest was not reached yet, so it was not mitigated. And this is fresh supply. So these are all my confluences, plus this will be a sell from a premium area. It's not random area right here. This will be sells from premium, which is another confluence, plus another confluence will be lower time frames confirmation that we are actually turning bearish from this area. How to identify real change of character versus fake? It really depends on the reliability of the higher time frame point of interest. If the higher time frame point of interest is good, you have higher probabilities of that change of character being a correct change of character. Another thing that you might want to look for is, if you're not sure about the area, you might want to look for double confirmation, which means so manipulation, change of character. If you're not sure, you don't enter at the first pullback right here. You wait for another breakout structure. At this second breakout structure, so you have the first breakout structure, second break structure. At this second break structure, the trend is even more confirmed, and you can look depending on liquidity. Again, this depends. If we built liquidity along the way right here with trendline liquidity, I will probably look for sells from this higher area to come back and continue. Okay. But overall, I will share a backtesting file on lower timeframes soon. I'll be working on it. Let me put back this area, which is important. All right. How to find key area in lower timeframes, because sometimes I miss entry. Lower timeframes, you wait for your confirmation, you put premium and discount, just like I do in the course. After you put premium and discount, you look for an order block to trade from, which is either, just like on higher timeframes, it is either the last one that broke structure, so the most recent one, or the extreme. Okay, just like I did earlier. Where price reaches premium or discount area, where should I place my order? At valid order block that is valid on that time frame. I've been testing between using breakout wicks for change of character or body candle, and your result is that body candle works better for you. If it works better and you backtest it, then use it. For me personally, I backtested it, and for me wicks work better. But now it depends on which time frame you're looking for change of character, because this is not specified. So maybe on my time frame is a wick, on your time frame it is a body candle. It depends. When using confirmation on 50 minutes or 5 minutes, when you enter a trade, do you put your stop loss above structure or below support? Not support. Supply and demand zone, aggressive stop loss. Depending on how good of a confirmation I get, so if all the liquidity is cleared, if the higher time frame zone is good, if all the liquidity is clear, if I get good confirmation that we are changing direction, then I go with more aggressive stop loss. Otherwise, I put it below structure. Do you use fair value gaps? Fair value gaps are just imbalances to me. And I do use it, but they're not that important in the strategy that we are using. We can use it as confluence. There are different order blocks in different time frames. 1 second. There are different order blocks. Where was it? Okay, in different time frames, and I get confused from which area to trade from. You should. That's the point. From which order blocks do you trade from? I trade from 4 hours and 1 hour order blocks, and then inside those order blocks, I look for confirmation, and I have smaller order blocks after the confirmation to actually enter. But of course, if you start looking at the 1 hour, then you start looking at 5 minutes, and then you just jump on all time frames, you will not be sure from which order block to trade from. Also, make sure to look at the backtesting file. You teach you should trade according to the trend, but some of your trades are against the trend. This depends which trend you are referring to. If you look at the daily, maybe it is against the trend. If you look at the 4 hours, maybe it is with the trend. If you look at the 1 hour, maybe it is even different. If you look at the 50 minutes, it is different again, which is your timeframes of reference. Now, if you're actually referring to my timeframes of reference, and you say it is against the trend, here is the explanation that we have. This right here, so this would be buys from here are pro trend with the trend. Buys from here are with the trend that we had this break of structure right here. Sells from here, yes, I would agree with you, that are against the overall trend on 4 hours and 1 hour. But still, with good confirmation and all the confluences that I showed earlier, this is still a trade that I would consider. Same question here. More videos about entries. These questions were before I shared a video about entries, so make sure to go and check that video. Let's say restored ratio is 2 to 237. So wait. So for example, if your restored ratio is like this, and it says 2.58, it means that it is 1 to 2.58, means that you're risking 1. If you're risking 1%, you will lose 1. If you hit take profit, you will make 2.58%. You posted an example of invalid zone on Instagram, made reference to structure. Invalid zone is when that zone fails. Even with a wick, that zone failed, basically. That zone becomes invalid. After the zone becomes invalid, so if we have supply is broken, supply becomes invalid, we don't want to trade from that supply anymore, demand is in control. Now, this is valid only if we are with the trend and everything, and also if we don't have a supply right above it, because sometimes, let's see an example if I can find it. Okay, for example, right here on GJ, we have, let's go on lower time frames just to do an example. So you could be like, okay, this demand failed right here. All right, supply is in control. So this supply is in control, which I would agree with, okay? But at the same time, we just reached a lower demand. So now this is not the best example, because personally, I would have actually looked for sales from here. I would have looked for sales. This is good confirmation, demand fails, supply is in control, very good. I wouldn't consider this demand, but this is just an example to make you understand that if the overall trend is bullish and demand or supply fails, we can look to enter from the either demand or supply which is in control. If another area was not actually reached, we make more examples on this. A good example of an area that of a good confirmation will be just here on NZD-CAD. This supply fails on the 1 hour. This supply fails, demand is in control, and we didn't reach the higher area. Now, if this move right here didn't stop here in the middle of nowhere, but actually went just straight up and came here, of course, I wouldn't have looked for buys from this demand. I wouldn't, no, because we already reached the supply. But since we stopped here and we haven't mitigated the supply yet, then I could look for buys here. So this is the reasoning. How to find entry points and how to keep the momentum. Entry points, make sure to look at the backtesting file. These questions were from before I shared the backtesting file, so many of your questions are answered over there. How do we know if it is a spring or the order block is broken? If the order block is broken, it is no spring, it's just broken, it is not valid anymore. Where can I backtest the replay function on TradingView? If you don't want TradingView, forextrive.com. Let me tell you. Forextrive. All right. When change of character happens, can I trade supply and demand created? Should I wait for supply and demand created and the next break structure? If you wait for an extra break structure, it is better confirmation, but you have more chances of losing the trade going without you. Now, depending on how good the setup is, so if I'm not sure about the setup, I don't really like the zone, the confirmation was not so clear, I will wait for double break structure. If instead the zone is great because you manipulate some breaks, just like I teach in backtesting file, and the confirmation is really good, we have a clear confirmation, then I wouldn't wait for double break structure. When should I expect a Wyckoff transition with Spring and UT? I don't really look at all the little names of Wyckoff. I just look for some type of consolidation at the zone, clearing liquidity with a big move, and then change of direction, basically. Do long wicks signify an imbalance? We'll need to look at lower time frames. So for example, if there is a long wick on the 1 hour, I look at the 50 minutes, see if there is imbalance. Otherwise, not really, no. What is the time frames you use to mark higher time frame structure? 1 hour, 4 hours? I would say 1 hour and 4 hours, both together. Just how I showed on NZD-CAD. Before buying, selling from order block, and confirming with lower time frames, what kind of liquidity are you looking at? Can you show examples? I look at previous highs liquidity. I didn't really understand the question, to be honest. If you, I look at liquidity in general. Every setup is different. Every setup has either trendline liquidity, previous lows or previous highs liquidity, Asian range liquidity. If you have like some questions, specific questions with charts, text me on Telegram or Instagram. I will help you. Make videos like, wait, I'm skipping some questions. Send your 1 minute confirmation entries. I've been doing that more. I will send it even more. How to backtest with real psychology. Unfortunately, backtesting is really helpful because you improve a lot by seeing past market conditions, but the psychology is not there. The psychology part in backtesting is not really present, and that's the bad part of backtesting. But backtesting is way to improve. Psychology, you will just learn it by trading on real market. It failed twice FTMO challenge because of emotions. I'm planning to open up psychology section very soon. We have last 10 questions. Nice. Make videos on how to backtest and journal every trade. Okay, I can make a video on that, no problem. How can we combine? Can we combine smart money strategy with retail trading strategy? You can. You just need to make sure that you backtest it and see if it works. If the things that you are combining actually work good together. Because like smart money strategy and retail trading strategies are just, you just said everything and nothing, because smart money has a lot of concepts and different strategies. Retail trading has a lot of different concepts and different strategies. Depends what you put together and how they work together. What to do if market breaks higher high? Everybody knows that demand is in control, but what to do if there is higher time frame supply? That's what I showed earlier. Example, NZD CAD, I would say, was the perfect example. I would trade with the trend, but of course, if there is higher time frame supply, depends on the higher time frame's direction also. If higher time frame is bearish and we reach supply, then I will look for sells. If lower time frames are bullish, I wait for lower time frames to align with higher time frames bias. Using the 1 hour as my time frame of reference when price comes into the order block, I go to 3 minutes time frame. Okay. Or do I have to wait for break structure on 1 hour? No, I will say you look for direction on the 1 hour, then you look for point of interest in 1 hour. When you reach your point of interest, you go on the 3 minutes that works best, and you wait for the 3 minutes to align with your 1 hour opinion, basically. We're waiting for 2 boss or 1 boss. I covered this already. 2 boss is, I personally will look for 2 break structure when I'm less sure about the setup. 1 break structure just if I like the setup, which is I usually just trade setups that I like in general. Do you always trade in your kill zones time? Yes, 95% of the times. Kindly make video on trade management in the course. Okay, good recommendation. Thank you. At how many pips in profit do you put stop loss at entry? It doesn't depend on pips. It depends on liquidity and market structure. And this correlates with making a video on trade management. So I'll just do that. Thinking of upgrading to lifetime membership. Is there anything extra included? You just get everything for lifetime, basically. I might be thinking of giving something to lifetime members, which is extra, actually. I think it will be right for them. Do you always wait for liquidity grab in all your trades? I would say yes, either on higher time frames or lower time frames. I need to see some liquidity being grabbed. Do you ever use breaker blocks? No, I don't. I know the concept. I just don't use them. Can you do another rundown on how to know when supply or demand is in control? For some reason, I'm confused when finding demands. I did some examples here, but I like all the recommendations that I got in these questions, and therefore I will actually make videos on the recommendations that you gave me, so I can give you more. I can solve all your doubts, basically. Thank you for connecting. I hope you liked it. If you did, again, just leave reactions or text me if you did like it, so I know if I should keep doing it. Thank you.